All right. Looks like I'm live. Um, because I don't go live that often or I'm really new to it, I am going to go live much more often, but this will be available on my YouTube channel. You can always go there if you come in late and see this. I also can't tell how many people are watching. Let's see. Make sure that my mic is on. Looks like the mic is on. Um, I'm going to give it a little bit longer. If you're watching the video, you might want to fast forward a little bit to when I really start talking. I don't know that I can see how many people are watching on every platform. I know there's a little icon here. It looks like it will tell me on Facebook and YouTube, but it's not going to tell me Instagram from what I can tell. StreamYard apparently doesn't do that. So if you're on Instagram, sorry, I don't think I can see your comments either. Pretty sure that I can only see comments from, let's see, YouTube. Yeah, not on Instagram. So it looks like Instagram doesn't really let me do much. So you may be able to watch, you may be able to hear what I'm doing, but you are not necessarily going to be able to comment. I won't know you're watching unless I flip over to Instagram because I think I have that up in another window. Oh, well, I wasn't even live. All right, looks like I'm live on Instagram now. I didn't remember that I had to go click, so we'll give it a couple more minutes. I was saying that if you're on Instagram, I'm not going to be able to see that you're watching unless I flip to the other window, which I probably won't do. But anyway, I see someone's watching, so I'm going to start talking. Nobody else can heal you. That is the topic. And it might sound a little bit extreme, but I really mean that. Nobody else can heal you. So, what are people doing that are holding themselves out as healers? In a way, I am as well. I don't think I say it that way. I never say it that way because I don't think it's possible to heal another person. But what we can do in the healing profession, people that are holding themselves out as healing mental, emotional, spiritual wounds, is we can hold space for other people. We can hold space. And this to me is really important. And I'll probably talk a lot about this. The other thing we can do is share techniques that have worked for us. Now, the other possibility is sharing techniques that we've read about. The other possibility is sharing techniques that other people have told us work. But I think that's a really dangerous road to walk as someone who's in a healing profession. My sense is the most important thing we can do is share what has worked for us. And that's what I try to do. I don't offer anything to people one-on-one or in a group that has not worked for me. And honestly, that hasn't worked for others that I've worked with. Holding myself out as someone who can assist with the healing process is a huge, huge responsibility. I take it very seriously. And one of the things that I take very seriously is being healed myself. Now, I'm not right now going to go into what it means to be healed, and I'm not saying there's some summit called totally healed or completely healed. I'm not saying that, but generally, if I wasn't going to hold myself out there as being able to offer anything to anybody else that I don't have myself, will not ever do it. And when I started to find healing, what I did was I worked on myself first. Once I found something that worked for me, I spent until sleep at night. I spent my time working on this process with myself. It's very important to me. Never even considered holding myself out as being able to help anybody else until the day came after about 6 months. I realized, wow, okay, I feel better than I felt ever in my life. Well, at least from the age of 6 or 7 years old, have never felt this good. I no longer feel like I'm going to die a broken person. I no longer feel like my life is going to be over by 50. I feel good. And now that doesn't mean I immediately went out and started holding myself out as being able to help others. Not at all. But when I felt good, it started to occur to me, well, I want to share this with other people. So after a little while, after I could tell I wasn't going to relapse into the depression, the anxiety, the panic attacks, when it was clear that a relapse wasn't coming, at least it hadn't yet, when I got through a period of time that was longer than I've ever experienced without depression, anxiety, panic attacks, I started to think, wow, this may have really done something. Real change happened here. And once I discovered that, I didn't go hold myself out to the public. I talked to close friends, people on a spiritual path, people that meditated. And I said, hey, I've been doing this thing with myself. It seems to work. Are you interested? And I started working with people that I know well, and to see what happens. People I'm close friends with, people who are willing to experiment, people who are willing to try something new. And you know what? It worked. And then after a couple of years of that, or I guess it's probably about a year and a half of that, I kind of started to hold myself out to the public. But to me, it's so important that anyone who's holding themselves out is offering something to the public in the healing realm, that they have fully experienced that themselves. So in the description to this stream, and I don't know that there's one on Instagram, but in the description on Facebook and YouTube, I talked about roller coastering. It's such a common experience. If you've experienced roller coastering on your journey, you're not alone. All of us have. What's roller coastering? Roller coastering is when you find a new technique, or maybe it's an old technique you haven't revisited in a while, or maybe you've used a particular technique for a while, went to a workshop, a retreat, picked up a new book. And this applies to self-help. This applies pretty much to any area of healing. But roller coastering happens when you get that initial charge, like I'm trying something new and it feels good. And then things kind of go back to normal at the status quo. So I'm going up and down, and then I find a new technique. I find a new teacher. I find a new healer, and then I go up, and then I come down, and up and down, and up and down. Roller coastering is extremely common. Now, to some extent, roller coastering of some sort is going to happen. I'm talking about a very particular kind of roller coastering on the healing journey. And I got to figure out how to put this on Do Not Disturb. I'm a new computer, so and I don't have my phone sitting next to me. So let's see if I can put it on Do Not Disturb. I don't think I can. Yeah, phone is not near me, so I'm just going to have to wing it. If it gets too bad, I'll jump off and turn on Do Not Disturb. But roller coastering I don't necessarily mean you're always going to feel good and you're roller coastering if you come down at all. And that's not what I mean. I'm talking about something very specific. It's the habit. It's the process of seeking help, whether through a book, a workshop, a teacher, a healer, and you feel good for a while, and then you come crashing down. And that could happen over and over again with the same teacher, with the same healer, with the same process. We feel good, and then we feel bad, and we feel good and bad and good and bad. And there's not much of a general trajectory upward. Maybe sometimes we feel better than other times, but in general, roller coastering is when I come up and then I come down over and over and over again. I'm sure that there are people out there, maybe even somebody watching this stream. I'm sure there are people out there that know what I'm talking about. I know personally what it was like. I tried every religion, not every religion, but I tried a lot of different religions, a lot of spiritual paths, a lot of self-help techniques, a lot of therapy. I tried it all over and over and over again. And almost everything would work for a little while. And it would always come to a crashing halt at some point. It's really a problem in the self-help industry. At least it was for me. I'm just sharing my experience. Even with therapy, feel good, feel bad, feel good, feel bad. And it's a cycle. And we're chasing that high of feeling good, chasing that high of what we think is healing. And what I call that is not healing. If it's coming up and down repeatedly and there's no real progress over time, that is symptom relief. Now, symptom relief is not a 4-letter word, obviously, but it's not a bad thing. Symptom relief is really helpful when we're struggling. how many times did I feel deeply depressed and I would do anything to get symptom relief? How many times did I have a panic attack? And that's probably the best example. How many times did I have a panic attack and I just needed symptom relief? There was nothing wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with seeking symptom relief. So I want to be very clear about that. Seeking symptom relief is valid. It has a purpose. Without symptom relief, I think we probably wouldn't be able to pursue a healing path when we've fallen, at least as low as I did. I mean, I was having daily panic attacks. My life was unmanageable. So without symptom relief, I wouldn't have had the space to pursue real healing, deep healing, permanent healing. So that's what I mean by roller coastering. Now, everybody, me, you, everybody, they're going to go up and down a little bit. There's going to be times we feel better, times we don't feel as good, no matter how healed we are. It's the nature of life on this planet in these bodies. We will feel better sometimes than other times. That is not what I mean by roller coastering. But the roller coastering is the hallmark of symptom relief. And if we pursue symptom relief as if it is real deep healing, it can become a lifetime of ups and downs. And if you've experienced it, I'm going to guess, like me, it gets tiring. It gets tiring, constantly coming up, coming down, coming up, feeling good, feeling bad. Oh, this is the new, latest, greatest thing. Oh gosh, I feel bad again. And in a lot of cases, at least in mine, the roller coastering of healing made it worse, because every time I picked up a book, and I've gotten rid of a lot of the self-help books, but I have a few on my shelf. And every time I would pick one of those books up and after a while and start to feel good, I would question, oh gosh, this is temporary. This is temporary. And I started to expect it after a while, after many years of having a lot of hope and then crashing and burning, or roller coastering. I have a lot of hope. I got this new self-help book, and then crashing and burning. I started to fear that, and I started to expect it every time. Every time I found a new spiritual path or a new process or meditation, 25 years of meditation, and I believed that meditation, and I'm talking about, I did all kinds of meditation, but mostly it was a Zen style. In other words, just sitting quietly. I had a preconceived notion, an unspoken assumption that continuing to meditate that way would eventually heal me. And you know what? It didn't. Now, that doesn't mean it couldn't heal someone else. I don't know. I've never seen it happen. But healing didn't happen. 25 years of regular meditation, dedicated meditation retreats, everything, meditation workshops, many different forms of meditation, consistent meditation. It did not heal me. Now, it did give symptom relief until the last year and a half before everything fell apart. And then it stopped working, didn't even give me symptom relief anymore. And that's one of the dangers of continuously using symptom relief and thinking it's healing, is we're going to roller coaster, and it may get worse, and we might start to expect the roller coaster, and we start to get hopeless, or I got hopeless because the symptom relief wasn't healing. I was just feeling better, feeling bad, feeling better, feeling the same, feeling better, feeling the same, up and down, up and down, up and down. I know there's somebody out there that's listening, that's watching, that knows what I'm talking about. And if you're in the good period, that, again, this is all from personal experience. I am sharing nothing that I've read in books, nothing others have told me. This is just my personal experience. So maybe it doesn't jive with you, but I'm just going to say it this way. One of the most dangerous times for me was when I was feeling good, because nobody could have told me that I was roller coastering. I believed, not every time, but most of the time when I felt good, I thought things had been fixed. I thought that I was done, that I was healed. And you know what? I wasn't, because I went right back to where I was before. It's been a while now, but so these are rough numbers, but in my case, and it's probably very different for everybody. If I felt good, it might last a month, possibly 2 months, maybe stretching into 3 months, but there is no way it would ever last more than that. And those were kind of rare exceptions when I felt good for a long period of time. But that roller coaster would always come in. I would rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. And I eventually I got to a point, as somebody who's highly optimistic, still to this day, has been highly optimistic since I was a child. I started to lose hope that things could get better. And it wasn't necessarily the depression, anxiety, and panic attacks that were the big problem. The problem was the roller coastering that came from seeking symptom relief and thinking it was healing. So, if that's symptom relief, anything that makes us feel better temporarily, what is real healing? So, first, let's talk about kind of the dream. What is real healing? Let's call it total healing. What does it mean to be healed? Is that a thing? I don't think it matters. I actually don't have an opinion on whether there's something called being totally healed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's no sense to me in pursuing that, and that's just my personal take. Maybe others feel differently. To me, seeking something called total healing, permanent healing, I don't know. It sounds like perfection. It sounds like another trap to me. Because if I get the idea that there's another level of healing, there's always another level of healing I can attain, I can attain, I can attain, I can seek, I can seek. I'm cultivating dissatisfaction in myself. If I'm always looking for that next level of healing, I am cultivating dissatisfaction in myself. And dissatisfaction does not sound like healing. So I'm kind of picking around the edges of what it means to heal. And this is my personal definition. This is my personal definition. It doesn't have to be yours, but let's see if it works for you, or maybe you give a modification. I would love to see comments. I'm going to flip over to Instagram, since Instagram doesn't. Yeah, I do see that a couple people are actually watching. Yeah, I can see comments, but I just have to flip over there. So if you comment, it might take me a little while to get back to Instagram. I have it up on StreamYard, and StreamYard doesn't show Instagram stuff. But anyway, what do I mean by healing personally? Well, it certainly stands in stark contrast to where I was at my worst, when I felt hopeless. So being in a healed state, again, not saying there's a state of being totally healed, but being in a healed state, I have hope. And now that I think about it, it's kind of transcended hope to just knowingness. I just know life is okay. There was hope first, and present day, I know life is okay. I know life is okay. Whatever happens, it's going to be okay. It is what it is. This is the way it is. What I'm experiencing right now is the way it is. And that's another point about healing. And this is, in my opinion, part of the reason that a lot of us don't heal, and certainly why I didn't heal for, let's see, roughly 35 years or so. I didn't heal for about 35 years because I wanted to maintain control of everything around me. I know it seems ironic because anxiety can feel like I'm out of control, I'm out of control. But think about it. If you feel out of control and you feel like you don't have any power, what are you going to try to do? Well, I know what I did. I tried to seize control. I tried to control everything around me to make it okay, because the anxiety, unlike depression, which I'll talk about in a minute, anxiety was unbearable to me. It was hell. Yeah, I got something out of it, but it was hell. Depression, on the other hand, sometimes, not all the time, and it wasn't like an intense joy I got from it, obviously, but depression sometimes felt comfortable. I'd be in bed in the dark for days, and it was kind of, in a way, it was kind of nice to lay in the dark under the blankets for days and doing nothing. Anxiety was not like that. Anxiety was hell for me. It was hell. It was a crushing burden. And that's not even to speak of panic attacks. I'm separating those out. And just because the panic attacks were like that anxiety turned up to 11, feeling like I was going to die, literally feeling like I was going to die. I was frozen in place, frozen sometimes on the ground. I'd fall to the ground and just lay there, almost catatonic. Not quite, almost catatonic. It was hell. So for me, healing means I don't experience any of that anymore. And again, not saying there's total healing, but I do not experience any of that anymore. And so, just to be clear, I am using my experience as someone who was struggling to explain what I mean by healing. So, no more suffering from anxiety. And I think technically, anxiety, all of us experience anxiety, but I don't mean just like kind of the stress of the moment, the thing that pushes us to do when when the stakes are high. Not that, or the anxiety that happens if there's an accident or if there's an emergency. I'm talking about, when I say anxiety from here on out, I mean suffering from anxiety. Anxiety that produces suffering, even low grade suffering. If it produces suffering, that is what I'm talking about. So no more anxiety, no more suffering from anxiety, and no more depression, no more depressive episodes. There may be moments where I'm like, oh, things don't feel good, but you know what? They don't stretch on for days. They don't stretch on for hours. There's a moment of, oh man, that sucks. But that even low grade depression, like, oh, life is just kind of not as bright and happy as it was. It's been years, haven't experienced it. So it's letting go of that deep, dark stuff, the anxiety, the depression. So that's kind of like basic. Having the hope, as I mentioned. And then from there, I think it's really up to you what it means. And that's all I'm doing here is sharing what it means to me. But you kind of got to figure out for yourself. And here's where I would love it if you just do a quick exercise with me. You can close your eyes wherever you are. If you're in a safe place, if you're driving, please don't do so. But you can close your eyes just for a moment. Not going to be here long. Just take a second to hear the sounds around you. I hear a fly. The sirens outside. Hopefully it's not distracting to you, but you could even notice those if you hear them through my microphone. Sounds coming in from outside. The sound of my voice. We're just floating here in the midst of the sound. You might notice one sound and then another, or maybe you just float in the midst of it all. Okay. So here from this place, I just want you to relax and allow the answer to come to you. What would a miracle look like in your life as far as healing goes? What would a miracle look like? Allow it to come forth. Once you get it, you'll know. Once it pops out, you will know, and follow that train. Let the mind wander. Let the mind pursue. What would a miracle look like? If but comes up, just allow that to float away. We're not talking about buts or exceptions or realism. What would a miracle look like in your life? What would a miracle look like in your life? Yeah. Whatever's coming up, it's good. If you have a journal nearby and you want to write it down, write it down. What would a miracle look like for you? I'm going to make a really, really crazy statement here. You can have that. You can have that. You can have that. That miracle can be yours. You don't have to settle for, I'm okay. You don't have to settle for, well, I'm not feeling like I don't want to exist today, so great. You don't have to settle for that. Now, we might be in a place like that for a long period of time. And I personally am not promising you that I can do anything about it. I do offer some things that may be helpful. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm not saying I can definitely help you. I'm saying I believe there's hope for every one of us. You can have your miracle. You can have your miracle. You can have your miracle. But hope is essential. You will not heal. You will not heal in a significant way if you lose hope. You will not heal. I would speculate you won't heal at all if you lose hope, if you totally lose hope. At my lowest, when I thought I was losing hope, when I thought I had permanently lost hope, there was the shred. Oh man, I had so much hope all of my life. And then at a certain point, I realized that hope was fading fast. It was coming down to the barest little shreds of hope at the very bottom of the barrel. And then I lost a little bit more. And then change happened, started to happen very slowly. Change started to happen. Things started to get better. And then a little bit more hope came back, and hope came back, and hope came back. So first, that dream is possible, but first maintain hope, whatever it takes. So I'm not big on faith. I'm not saying there's not a place for faith in my life, but I think faith can be overused. But this is a place where faith is essential. If you don't believe it, try to believe it anyway. You got to have some hope. Second, willingness. Willingness is essential. So here's where part of the title, Nobody Else Can Heal You, comes in. And there's nobody, in my opinion, that can come and heal you unless you first have that hope and that willingness. So you've already done something there. Now, I mean it on a deeper level than that. I don't just mean with hope and willingness, somebody else can heal you. That's not what I mean. But for now, you must have faith. You must have will or hope. You must have willingness to be healed. Now, doesn't that sound kind of wild? Now, now in one-to-one sessions that I do with people in retro session, this process I developed that pulled me out of my depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. Um, I now it's a new part of the process, but I ask eye to eye, face to face with clients, do you really want to heal? And it seems like such a dumb question. Do you really want to heal? Because I think often the impulse for finding someone else that can fix things for you is that we don't really want to heal. It's, again, talking about myself, and just if it resonates with you, it resonates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I don't think I really wanted to heal for many of those years. It was comfortable. I was in a cycle. Even if it was uncomfortable, there was a comfort in the cycle. Always coming back to the depression, the anxiety, the panic attacks. Did I want to heal? Probably not entirely. I didn't know any other way to live my life. I had no other way to live my life. All I knew was depression and anxiety, and then eventually panic attacks. That was all I knew. Now, you're probably going to hear the dog barking in the background, but that is the hazard of live streams. It is strange to think about, but really sit with it. And maybe you do it after the stream, or maybe you do it now. Do you really want to heal? And then I got to add something here. In line with Nobody Else Can Heal You, the name of the stream. Even if you think you want to heal, you're going to give something up. You're going to give something up if you heal. You may give a lot of things up. You may give a lot of things up. And one of those things, in every case I've ever dealt with, including myself and others that I work with one-on-one, may not be universal, but you will have to give up the sense that you can control everything around you, or even some of the things around you. The sense, the belief that you can control is going to be fatal to your drive for healing. Are you willing to give up the sense that you can control? The sense that you can control at work, at your business, in your family? Yeah, I can make good decisions. I can try to move things in a positive direction. I can take action. I'm not saying we don't take action. We just kind of float around willy-nilly. No, I believe in autonomy, but I also think that we do not have the level of control we think in any instance. In any instance, there's the illusion of control from time to time, and there's apparent control that happens, because I can certainly go, I can pick up this computer I'm speaking into, I can move to the left or the right, I can take some action. But if you want to heal, you're going to have to give up the illusion that you can control everything or anything. There may be temporary moments that I make decisions that cause an effect in the outside world, yes, but look deep. Are you really willing to give up the illusion of control? I've seen it so many times, people that are struggling. And I was told myself, it was a math professor in undergrad, I have a math degree. He said, "You're a control freak." First time I ever heard this, I had no concept of it. Didn't make any sense to me when he told me I was a control freak. Had no clue. Didn't even know I had anxiety. Didn't even know what anxiety was. But he told me, "You're a control freak." And I sat with it, and I sat with it, and I sat with it, and I wrestled with it and said, no, that doesn't make sense. And then I thought about it again, because something rang true, I think. But let me tell you, I was a control freak. And in my experience, in my opinion, everyone who suffers from anxiety is to some extent a control freak. It's probably not a popular thing to say. It's not fun to hear if you have the anxiety. And here's why, at least for me. As someone who suffered from anxiety, my whole life was oriented around control. finding a way to control the anxiety, finding a way to control the situations around me, the people around me, so that I wouldn't feel anxious because I hated anxiety. Like I said earlier, I hated it. It was the worst. I just didn't want to exist anymore when I was anxious enough. But healing, in my opinion, will never come from higher degrees of control. It will never come from more control. It will never, ever come from more control. And the only way to heal is to surrender, to let go of that sense of control. Again, I'm not saying you can't take action that causes change in the world around you, but by control, I mean certainty about what's going to happen next, certainty about how I'm going to be treated by others, certainty. We have to let go of that need for certainty, that desire for certainty, because guess what? You're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. And the fact that you're never going to get it is only going to make you more anxious, more depressed. You can have more panic attacks. It's not going to happen anyway. And you might, let me know if this resonates with you, because I'm thinking I'm probably not the only one. But when I think back to when I was highly anxious, suffering from panic attacks, the depression, I felt like my energy, or my sense of self, was always clutching inward. And I need to control what this person does, and I need everything to go in this very smooth way. And I thought of it as self-care. I don't think I had those words, maybe, but I thought of it as self-care. I was taking care of myself. But what I was doing was further perpetuating my anxiety, because no matter what I did, no matter how good I was at what I did, no matter how organized I was, no matter how competent, how intelligent, it did not matter. In the end, I had we'll say, very little control. I would never, ever, ever be satisfied with the level of control that I have or had. Will never happen in a million years, and it will only increase the extent of the anxiety. My experience. Let me know if it resonates with you. So that is what you're going to have to give up. If you want to heal, you're going to have to give up that need to control. And that could be it. Maybe it's time to walk away from the healing journey. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that to anybody. Just looking back by reference to myself, I was never going to heal. I was never going to heal until I recognized my need to white knuckle it and hold on and try to control everything. And yeah, it hasn't worked to this point, but I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. In this relationship, in X, man, that is the most acute situation. It's so obvious when I think back on that relationship, how it never worked. I couldn't control the relationship. And it wasn't that I was trying to control her and force her to do things. I just wanted to be loved in the way that I felt I needed to be loved. And I could not control that relationship. No matter what I did, I couldn't make it go the way I wanted it to go. My profession as a lawyer, which I gave up at the end of, or near the end of my real deepest struggles, I could never control enough as a lawyer. And that's what being a lawyer is about. It's controlling risk. And I could not control enough to satisfy myself and to lose the anxiety. And it will never happen. It's the way it goes. If you want to heal, eventually you're going to have to give up the control. Now, that doesn't mean everybody should just do it right now and just throw their hands up and say, you know what? I don't have any control. I'm not suggesting that. There's a path. Maybe it's time to hold on and really try to keep that control. Maybe that's right for you, but acknowledging it is important. What I'm telling you is, for real permanent healing, rather than just symptom relief, you're going to have to let go of control. The implicit assumption seems to be that when I'm going to heal, in other words, I am going to feel better, but I'm still going to do everything I'm doing right now. Maybe some exceptions, maybe there's some bad habits I cut out, but I can still control everything around me and heal. Not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen. And funny enough, with the title, Nobody Else Can Heal You. Now, it might seem like somebody that thinks somebody else can heal them is ceding all control. And in a sense, that's what they're doing. But it's a way to passively sit back for a time while the healing is happening. When you're in control mode and you're trying to control everything, it feels really good to just go to someone else, lay there and let them do their thing. And, I don't have to do anything about it. But That is temporary. And you know what happens if you're somebody like I was. You go in, you get some kind of session, you go to therapy, and you come out, and you might feel good for a little bit, talking about that roller coaster again. And then it comes crashing down because you know what? I'm going to start tightening up again. Like I said, it felt to me, anxiety felt like clenching everything in down to my very core, squeezing it in tight. I think of like the miser Scrooge. You're squeezing everything in tight. You're trying to hold it close. You're trying to control the people around you, trying to control the business, trying to control your job, your boss, trying to control the kids, the husband, the wife. It's not going to work. First of all, it's not going to work. And when you're ready to take that journey to real permanent healing, you're just going to have to let go of that control. Now, you can hear my words. It doesn't mean that it's going to do it for you. You're not going to suddenly drop it just because I'm saying it. I know that. But let it plant a seed, because you'll see, if you really believe, if you have that hope and the willingness to heal, at some point you're going to confront it. And then maybe you'll remember these words like, maybe he was onto something. The good thing about that is you now can say, okay, this is normal. I'm feeling out of control, and I'm feeling like I want to control everything around me, and I'm on this healing journey. You're going to know it was normal. This is normal. You may even start to take a dive when you start really healing. So like I said, the roller coaster is just the up and down that happens when you view symptom relief as healing. When, oh, I feel better because this person said something, or I read a quote, or I read a book, and then I feel like crap again. And that's the roller coaster. Now, when you first start the healing journey, it's absolutely possible that you'll crash and burn. After I quit my job as an attorney, things got worse. And I thought it was just the lawyer job that was killing me. No, I was doing it. I was doing it to myself. And I don't mean my conscious mind. I mean the trauma, all that stuff piled on. It was not gonna allow me to heal, to let go of control. And I don't know why I was given the gift of discovering retrocession. I don't know why. I really don't understand it. And often, almost every session I do one-on-one with others, oftentimes in groups, I honestly, I break down and cry. Now they're tears of joy, but I break down and cry when they leave the office. I lock the door and I cry, because I was hopeless. I did not believe that I could ever have a normal life. The best I could do was maintain until that last breath. At best, I really believed I was going to die a broken man. And it is beautiful. It's a miracle that this process kind of was made known to me, or kind of discovered it in its own way. It's probably really nothing new, but it's just a different way of packaging healing. So, not trying to claim it's the end all be all. It probably doesn't work for everyone either. But anyway, I don't know why I have been fortunate enough to find that healing, and even more now getting to share it with others. Oh my gosh, it's amazing to share it with others. And if you're somebody that this resonates with and you want to talk more, know that I rarely charge for what I do. This is not my job. This is not my job. It is not my job. I rarely make money off of it. Yes, some people pay me. Yes, I get paid sometimes, but it is not a prerequisite to working with me. Paying me is not a prerequisite to working with me. If you find value in it, I certainly appreciate that, but I do not expect it. My motivation here is to help in any way I can. So if I can hold space for you, if I can help you find that healing space, discover what true healing is for you, I would love to do it. All right. So we're moving on. So we've talked about willingness. We've talked about hope. We have talked about change. We've talked about control. Now, I hesitate. I hesitate to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you're somebody who is considering using somebody, including me, I apply these standards to myself. I want to tell you a couple things. There are a lot of people holding themselves out there as being healers. A lot of people that claim they can help you with your anxiety, depression, etc. A lot of people, I see it constantly. And I know it's the algorithm. It's because of what I do. I'm getting that stuff suggested constantly. But I got to tell you a couple things. And I really mean it. Apply this to me as you would anybody else. Number one, get to know the person a bit. At least have an in-depth conversation with them before giving them money or even spending your time. Like I said, I don't necessarily charge, but get to know the person. Maybe go back through their social media. See whether they have crises after crises, if they're roller coastering. I think if you look at a bunch of healers around you, and you're on their personal Facebook page, there are many that will show this roller coastering that's happening. So we have the roller coastering. Look for that. Is this somebody that is embodying the things that they are teaching? Is this somebody who's embodying what they're claiming they can help you with? Be ruthless in this. Be ruthless as you apply the standard. If they are not living the life they claim they can give to you, I would suggest that you take your time. Take your time. Make sure that they can help you. Because as I said in the beginning, there's two things that we should look for in somebody that's helping us heal. As I said, I don't think anybody else can heal you, but somebody that's helping heal. They can hold space. So is this somebody who's good at holding space and not inserting themselves repeatedly and really just being there and being open and loving, unconditionally loving. So that first of all, that one's a little less rare. But second, are they teaching you what has worked for them, not symptom relief? And just being clear here, not can they relieve their own symptoms by meditating? Can they relieve their own symptoms through whatever it is? But have they significantly healed? Now, there's nothing wrong with going on a journey with someone. If they're admitting that they are not healed and you're doing a healing journey together, beautiful. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that hold themselves out as offering healing, offering relief from anxiety and depression, not just relief, offering freedom from anxiety, depression, panic attacks. Apply a rigorous standard to them. They should be living proof of what they do, living proof. And you'll see it a lot. I see it almost every day from other healers, people offering this healing stuff. I'm not perfect. Well, and that's right, not perfect, but there should be very high standards. So I'm not looking for perfection. That's ridiculous. Perfection is a worthless standard anyway. I don't even think it exists, but they should be held to a very high standard. And it's not, I have just as much compassion for someone who's holding themselves out as a healer, someone that can help with depression, who goes through their own depressive episodes. I know it sounds harsh, and I have so much empathy for them, but they should not be holding themselves out as being capable of helping you with something that they still struggle with at all. I've hesitated to say this. I've never said it in a YouTube video. I've never said it in a live because I know how harsh it could come across. But I hope you will hold anyone that's putting themselves out there that way to that standard. If they claim they can help you have a good life, do they have a good life? Another piece of it. If this person appears to have a good life, do they have a good life because they quit their job and became a healer, a coach? Did they quit their job because they couldn't hack it anymore and this was their road out? If they're offering to you to do the same, I mean, maybe that works. If they're saying, hey, I quit my job and my life's a lot easier, you can do the same thing. If they're teaching you that, awesome. If they're upfront teaching you that, but know that taking yourself out of the fire because you can't hack it and then claiming that other people should give you money because you can't hack it. Nobody says that, but essentially asking other people to give you money to allow you not to work a regular job because you can't hack it does not make a coach and does not make a healer. I know it sounds harsh, but I see it. And this is not coming from speculation. This is coming from inside knowledge. And of course, I'm not going to say who. There are so many unhealed people out there, totally unhealed people that are going through deep depressive episodes, and my heart breaks for them. I've been there, but they're holding themselves out as being able to help. Are they holding themselves out as being able to help, but they're getting wasted every night, drinking heavily, getting DUIs? Are they holding themselves out there as being something that they are not? And if you're somebody that's out there doing that, I beg of you to reconsider. Please reconsider. I know it's terrible going out and getting a job, but please reconsider. And I promise I will do the same. If I have a relapse of anxiety, depression, panic attacks, I will cease doing what I'm doing. I'm holding myself to the highest standard because I cannot offer what I haven't received myself in this place. I cannot do that. All right. So, finding the right person, if it's needed to find somebody that's going to offer that healing or offer that to hold space, offer to provide techniques. Finding the right person, having the willingness, holding out hope, necessity when it comes to finding healing. But nobody else can heal you, whether they're healed or not. Nobody else can heal you. But I know, without even knowing who's watching the stream, you can get better. I know that for you. Again, I'm not saying I can get you better. You can get better. I am proof. I was hopeless. You can get better. You can get better. You can get better. You are not stuck. You are not stuck. Maybe just close your eyes right now. Really just relax into where you're sitting, where you're lying down. Obviously, don't do any of this if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, but relax for a moment. Maybe put a hand on your chest, a hand on your stomach, and just breathe. Just breathe for a couple of moments here. Notice the expansion and contraction of the chest with each breath. Not worrying about distractions and thoughts. That's okay. If they come in, no big deal. Just gently and lovingly come right back to the breath. And ask yourself, really just relaxing into the answer, into the question as well. Do you have hope? Do you believe that you can experience profound, permanent healing? No more roller coastering. Do you believe? Do you believe? Just breathing into that question, sitting with that question, not answering it, not intentionally coming up with an answer. Sit with it. See if something pops out for you. See if you hear or you experience an answer more than hearing it. Is there an answer there for you? Do you truly believe that you can heal? All right. Do you believe? If you don't, that's okay. Can you bring an earnestness, an intensity into the desire for healing? And I'm not telling you to fake it till you make it, but can you bring up a sincere desire to heal? Can you bring it up like a dog focused on the bone? Arrow like a laser like focus, focused on healing. Do you believe that it's possible? Do you believe that it's possible? So do you have hope? Cultivate that hope, cultivate that desire for healing. I can tell you from working with myself and other people, when your desire for healing is greater than your desire to continue doing what you've always done, the process can start. When your desire to heal, when your need, I'm going to change that, when your need to heal exceeds your desire to keep things as they are, comfortable, even if difficult, then the healing can start. All right, eyes could still be closed, just breathing. Noticing where the mind goes, just being there for it, not trying to force anything. Just allow this all to come out. Okay. Now, are you willing to do what it takes to heal, to find lasting, deep healing? Are you willing to do what it takes? Really sit with it. It's okay if the answer is no. It's okay if the answer is maybe. It's okay if you're not sure, if it's wishy-washy. That is okay. That's not a problem. Be with that. Whatever that answer is, that real answer, that truthful answer, be with it. You're good. Just be with that answer. What would you be willing to do to have that miracle happen? And if you weren't here earlier, we're talking about miracle in the way of mental, spiritual, emotional healing. What would you be willing to do or cease doing for that healing? And I'm not telling you what it is you're going to have to do. That is different for everyone. I don't claim to have that answer. I only have the answer for me. But are you willing to do what it takes? If the answer is no, that's okay. It might not be time yet. But if the answer is yes, start imagining the things you could be called on to do, the things you could be called on to give up, the habits, the illusion of control. Are you willing to give those things up? What are you willing to give up? And the answer there may be a limit. That's totally fine and normal. But where's that limit? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to start doing? What are you willing to change to get that healing? Here we're just looking at willingness. And this could take time. You may have to cultivate it over time. Next, do you have the support you need? We're going to break this in two parts. Do you have people around you that support your healing journey? The other side. Do you have people who don't support your healing journey? People that want you to remain the same because they can use it to control you, because they're used to it, because they're not on a healing journey, because they don't want to heal. Do you have that weight that's dragging you down? But also, more importantly, I think, do you have the positive? Do you have the support system in place for that healing? Just sit with it. Like I said, eyes closed, sit back, relax, allow the answers to come forth. You're not trying to think through, oh, well, there's this person and that. That's not what I'm talking about. There's time, there's plenty of time for that. Right now, relaxing, just allowing the answer to come forward. Who are those people? Who are those people that support you? Allow their faces to show, or just know who they are. And if somebody comes up and you kind of discard it, maybe go back. Is there some reason you're discarding that person that came up? Same thing with those who don't support your healing journey, people that are trying to hold you back. Allow them to come up. You might get a surprising answer there. Are there people who are holding you back on that healing journey for whatever reason? And I'm not telling you what to do about it. We are just exploring with curiosity right now. Who supports the journey, who's going to be conducive in it, and who is holding you back, whether knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally, unintentionally. What is the current situation? If you don't have enough support, or if you just want more, or if there's too many negative influences in your life, next, what are you going to do to find that support? It's another hard one. I can't give you an answer. We host some stuff. I do private sessions, obviously, but that's not what I'm getting at here. Where will you go? Do you have a church? Do you have another group that you used to go to and don't go anymore? Do you have friends who invited you to something that sounds interesting, but maybe you were afraid to go or just not ready for it at the time? Is there some online course that you've been considering taking, but you just haven't done it yet? And, whatever comes up, allow it to come up. But what do you need to do to find that support? In parallel to that, what do you need to do to mitigate the negative effect of others in your life? People that are holding you back, whether knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or unintentionally. What do you need to do to mitigate that? And again, I don't have an answer. I don't have any answers here. You have the answers. I promise you have the answers. And finally, eyes may be closed, still relaxed. What is the first step you're going to take? What is the first step you're going to take? See it, know it. Simple step, smallest baby step you can imagine. What is that step that you're going to take, as small as possible? Maybe there's a therapist that you went to in the past that really helped you, and you stopped going. Maybe email them, call them, set it up. Some simple step like that, something you can do in just a couple of minutes at most. What is the step you're going to take? Do you need to sit down and journal? Do you need to just pour out your heart on a piece of paper? Do you need to record a video if you're not a writer? Do you just want to talk to your phone? Nobody has to see it. What step are you going to take on this journey? It's just a baby step on this journey toward healing. Are there people around you or people that you know of who can assist with that journey? Reach out to them. Do you need to cut back a little bit on the time you spend with the people that are toxic, that are holding you back, that don't want to see you heal? What steps can you take? Just be there with it. And now, if you weren't here earlier, it's okay. For those who were, again, what does a miracle look like for you? It's different for everybody. What does a miracle look like when it comes to healing mental, emotional, spiritual wounds? What would a miracle look like? Not what is good enough. What does a miracle look like? Can you see it out in front of you, right out in front of you? Eyes are closed, imagining it in living color. What does life look like? It can be an unlikely, extremely odd choice. What does it look like for you? If you find yourself floating in the sky and floating in the clouds, go for it. There's no restriction on it. But what does a miracle look like for you in your healing journey? Really be there for it. What does it feel like to be in your skin, in this body, at the end of that healing journey? Not saying there's an end or there's not, but what does it look like when the healing has happened? How do you feel? What do you look like? What does your life look like? What kind of relationships do you have? Just allow that to develop. Use your imagination. And with eyes closed, maybe just notice where you're imagining it. It could be out in front of you. It could be off to the side. It could be kind of in your head, on your forehead. It could be anywhere. It could be in the body. It could be totally off this plane of existence, whatever. Doesn't matter. But now, if you will, take that imagination, that miracle, eyes still closed. You imagine it right in front of you in living color. You're seeing it in third person. So if you're in it, you're seeing yourself in third person. And then you start to feel yourself moving closer and closer to that version of you in your dream, moving closer and closer to your version of heaven. And you merge, and now it's in first person. You're looking out through your eyes. The miracle has happened. You are healed. How does it feel to be in your body? How does it feel? What do your relationships look like? What do the people around you experience from you? What do you experience? Where do you go? What do you do? How does your dream manifest in the real world? Really be there for it. And now, really cultivate that desire for it. You may imagine your body is like a laser and it's firing energy straight into that vision for the future. Feel yourself drawn toward it. Feel yourself irresistibly pulled to it. It's like gravity. It's like magnetic force. It's pulling you toward that miracle. Believe it, know it, really see it in your mind's eye with eyes closed. See that miracle of mental, emotional, spiritual healing. It's there. Feel yourself drawing toward it, unencumbered. Everyone around you supporting, nobody who doesn't support, holding you back. You're pushing toward that dream. You've got this. I know you can do it. I'm speaking directly to you. It doesn't matter. I don't even know who's watching the stream. There are people watching, I can see, but I don't know who they are. I don't have to know you to know it's possible. Now it's your turn. Really believe, really pursue it. Think about it when you're going to bed. Imagine that dream, that miracle of healing that's going to happen. When you wake up in the morning, imagine that life and just take baby steps, just baby step after baby step. And just a quick tip on that, set your next baby step. If you have to put it in your calendar, do it. If it's a step you can take right now, do it as I end the stream here in a moment. Take that baby step. And then this is the most important part. Every time you take a baby step toward that dream of healing, even if you have no idea where you're headed, you just know you want to do it. You have that hope. You have that willingness. Take that step and then commit that when you take that step, you will schedule the next step or take the next step. You will always schedule or take the next step. So if my first step is I'm calling my therapist, great, or going to that meditation group, I put it in my calendar. And then, or if I'm calling the therapist, I call right now. And then the moment I finish, let's just say my step is calling my therapist. I call the therapist, set up an appointment. I hang up. I immediately get in my calendar and I enter the next step I'm going to take. Actually attend the therapy session, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be that. But actually schedule it. Or if you can do it right now, do it. So let's just say journaling. I'm going to journal right now. And when I finish journaling, maybe the next step after that is call my mom, who's really supportive, and I can call her. I don't have to schedule it. But then maybe after calling my mom, the next step is going to that therapy session. So I'm going to make sure that's on my calendar. Then the day I go to that therapy session, I come out, I sit in my car, I pull up my calendar, and I schedule the next step. If you always schedule the next step on the journey, even if you don't know where you're going, if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other with sincerity, with willingness, with hope, you will find profound healing eventually. I know that for you. I know that even if I don't know who you are, I don't know who's watching. We're at about an hour. Thank you so much for being here. I'm trying to live stream more. I really prefer this to doing setup videos where I talk for 20 minutes and then stop. Though, check out my YouTube channel. If you like what you've heard today, if it's intriguing, there is a lot of practical stuff. Yes, I talk in some of the videos. In other videos, I do guided meditation. Um, some I do both, kind of like I did in the stream, but I would encourage you, look at my YouTube channel. There's also my podcast, which you can find on YouTube, but also anywhere you find your podcast. I don't update it that often, but it's there. There's a lot of episodes, a lot of guided stuff, a lot of discussion of healing. I would love to see you there. You can go to my website at retrocession.org, retrocession.org, which should be linked in bio anywhere you're watching this. In YouTube, I believe you'll find it on my channel. I think it has a link to my website. You can chat with me there. You can DM through any social media platform, or even call my office line, which you will find on my website. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. If you're just coming into this video, just wait a little while and YouTube should make it available. It may even be available pretty soon here. We went through a lot of topics. We did a lot of practical stuff. Let me know how I can help. Have a wonderful day.